Joe Blowzinski from Idaho was a man of simple tastes. His simple tastes involved periodically inserting potatoes into his rectum. He started with small ones, worked his way up to larger ones, and he continued this for years without incident. Then one day he decides he's not happy with how much potato he can cram into his butthole. He picks out an abnormally largish one, and he assumes the position and he goes about his business. Now, Joe here, he had bitten off a little more than he could chew, because no matter how far he stuck his fingers up his bum, he could not get that thing out. And it's a bit of an emergency, but he decides that the trip to the emergency room is overly expensive, not to mention a tad bit embarrassing. So he leaves it up there. I mean, he figures his intestines are roomy enough to support one largish potato. So what's the worst that can happen? I mean, initially, Joe finds his anus a little crowded, but he eventually settles into having it up there, and he gets on with his life. But this is no ordinary largest potato, however, and it has been tainted by the runoff from years of heavy fracking in the Idaho mountain region. This potato is a little smarter than your average vegetable and takes root in Joe's dimly lit, damp colon. It grows its little potato arms, and using nutrients gleaned from Joe's innards, it gains sentience and decides that Joe here is no longer in charge of his own body. The living potato consumes poor Joe from the inside. Roots burst from his orifices, and he is no longer able to think for himself. The transition is complete. The potato has assumed control. This potato has assumed power over Joe's functions. Not only that, it has an agenda that Joe would soon be carrying out on his behalf. Poor Joe, with potato shoots breaking through his nose, his eyes, his fingers, his toes, he enters the nearest grocery store and he's on a mission. Potato Joe walks inside. He takes a hostage and he demands to be allowed to use the overhead speaker. To which the workers say, okay, let's let the potato man make an announcement. What harm can it do? So, Potato Man announces to the crowd that he is there in the name of freedom and demands that all captive vegetables be released into the wild immediately or face the wrath of one angry Potato Man. Now, not wanting to face the wrath of a Potato Man, the workers and the shoppers, well, they band together and immediately start pelting Joe with rotten tomatoes until he is incapacitated. It's kind of ironic because, well, he went in there to free all the vegetables and they destroyed a bunch of vegetables because of his actions. It's very ironic. It's tragic. They call the police. Eventually, Joe slumps over to the ground and he is unable to continue his quest for vegetabular vengeance. So with the crisis averted, everything gets back to normal. And if you're wondering what happened to became of Potato Man after he was smacked with all those tomatoes, well, he was never seen again. But legend has it, he was diced up into little cubes and sold at the deli. So it all works out. And unless your name is Joe Blowzinski from Idaho, worked out pretty good. And there you have it. That is the tragic story of Joe Blowzinski from Idaho. Watch what you're putting up there, guys.